Around the room.
This is for the face time.
Okay.
So we're going to pass it. Okay. So I'll start off and welcome everybody. And then we'll
Hello, everybody. Hello. 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 Don't look at me. Look at them. Look at them. Hello. Everyone outside. Come inside. Everyone outside. Come inside. Get them to come in. Now you got to pay for your drinks. You know, just come back in. Okay. Now, this is the OGR. Our budgets are tight. We don't have a microphone. So you're going to have to act like civilised people instead of yachties, okay? And really be quiet because Barry's lost his voice in the last 70 years or something, okay? I'm just going to say a few things and then I'll hand over to Barry and Peter to say a few things, and you'll need to be quiet to hear, okay? First of all, thanks for coming. This is our second Whitbread reunion, and it's really fun for us non-Whitbread people to meet you all and hear some of your stories, okay? It's great for my small team, you know, and Jane and me and everyone associated with running the OGR, because we really are trying to recreate the feel of what the original Whitbread races were like. Now, on the water, I never did a Whitbread. I tried 3 times, long story. But I really have the distinct impression that the sailors in the OGR really are getting a lot of the similar feelings, the similar emotions, the similar camaraderie. They're not just getting as pissed as you guys used to be by what I've read, you know. so you know, it really seems to be happening, which is very exciting for us. To be in Auckland with the support of, who wants to say it? Georgie, how do you say it? Tatakai Tartaki, Auckland, who supported us here. They're one of our biggest supporters for the OGR, believe me. We're so happy to be in Auckland. We know from everything we've read about all of your Whitbreads, this was a favourite stopover. It is absolutely already our favourite stopover for the OGR. So that's kind of cool. And the good news is we're going to do it all again in 4 years' time. So the next Whitbread reunion could be a lot bigger. I know there's a lot of Whitbread guys from New Zealand that are currently on holidays. They wanted to be here, but, you know, we're not that important, right? Holidays are holidays. So we know the Whitbread family is very big in New Zealand, and we hope you're enjoying it. It's a chance for us to explain the Whitbread to a whole generation of sailors that probably didn't know anything about it. And they're saying, wow, that's cool, look at what these guys are doing. And it's also an opportunity for you to relive your experiences, brag about it, you know, call it what you like. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Finally, I got to just mention the fact that the OGR it may not be big news everywhere. I mean, most people in New Zealand didn't even know we were coming. We just got some great stuff on the news. They did a lot of live cuts. But the really exciting thing for me and our team is that there are a lot of sailors around the world watching this and thinking, I want to do it. Seriously, I've never seen anything like it. There are sailors all now thinking, oh, we could do 27, we can get together in a boat and, you know, sell the boat at the end of the race, it doesn't matter. It's really creating waves. We won't really know what's going to happen until 2027, but sailors are talking. The other amazing thing is we have so many non-sailors following the race because it's more about human stories and adventure, and they're gobsmacked. You know, that's a real standout. We've got so many non-sailors that are just watching it for the fun of what it is. Anyway, that's enough for me. Thanks for coming. I'm going to Barry. You all know Barry. He is our only ambassador for the OGR. He's been very involved with us in the Golden Globe and everything as well. But I don't need to introduce Barry. For me personally, I first met Peter personally a few years ago. But I always remember the voice of the Whitbreads. I followed all the Whitbreads, you know, grandmother's funerals and all that sort of stuff, you know, the classic lines. And I'll just mention one other little connection with the Whitbread. You probably know that Steinlager won, Peter Blake and Mike Quilter's trimaran that entered the Around Australia race in '88. I was the organiser of that event. I met them for the first time and their whole Kiwi team. It was a crazy time. Peter was a really amazing guy. He taught me a lot of things. And I mentioned it the other night, he actually taught me a lot about events and about sponsors. I've never been successful, but he taught me a lot, and I still use his advice to this day. His favourite line, can you pass me a beer? His favourite line was that, this is something I'll never forget.
You don't have any beer.
No, I don't drink. Okay. his favourite line, this is Peter doing an interview in Mooloolaba, and he's talking to the media, and he's got a steiny in his hand, you know, and as he's talking, he realised out of the corner of his eye, the label's not facing the camera. So he slowly rolls the bottle of beer around so that the label is facing the camera. And after I said, "Hey, Pete, that was cool," and he says, "Yeah," and he just looked at me dead square and said, "The bullshit pays the bills, buddy," you know. So he was an amazing guy. He helped me on my first attempt at a Whitbread campaign because I had a very big in with a big sponsor in Melbourne, another brewery, and it was some issues, and they said, "Well, how come Steinlager's in the race sponsored by Whitbread?" So Peter organised to get some recommendations from Steinlager to explain how it works. So Pete was an amazing guy, and I really respected everything that we got out of that back then. Anyway, enough of that. I'm handing over to Barry. Thanks for coming. Cheers. And you'll have to be quiet now.
It's great to be here and to see so many faces I haven't seen for 20, 30 years. It's great. We were reminiscing the other night about Saramco and Flyers battles.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk a bit louder. We were reminiscing the other day about the battles. This isn't a microphone. This is for the television. The battles we had between Saramco and Flyer. Those were the brilliant days, and there was a lot of drinking went on as well, and a lot of fighting. But it was we all finished up great friends, and you and I are the only two left who've covered every Whitbread race. Yeah. You from Sydney, and me back in England, counting them out and then counting them back again. Yeah.
Yep. Well, 1973. Hello. We'll ask Joe Allen if he could stop the constructors making all that noise up there. Never before has this group of people had scaffolders building higher to be able to look down on you all. So I'm very mindful, something Winston Churchill once told me, don't name drop. So I'll try and not name drop, but in 1973 I was in Sydney really for the Southern Cross Cup, and that was the second stopover of the first Whitbread Round the World yacht race. And for a variety of reasons, the Whitbread really didn't fit into Sydney at that time. And I remember Rear Admiral Otto Steiner of the Royal Naval Sailing Association and the Whitbread PR people weren't happy. And 3 or 4 years later, they came to the squadron, talking to the flag officers. And so the second stop was in coming into Auckland. And there we were doing live broadcasts on radio, and PJ Blake called me on his VHFs and said, "PJ, we haven't got a New Zealand ensign. Can we borrow yours off your launch you're on?" So I've got photographs of throwing the ensign onto Condor to be first in. And so from that made a huge impression on so many young New Zealanders, because in those days the America's Cup wasn't even on the horizon. The One-Ton Cup and the Admiral's Cup was the big deal for New Zealand sailors. But then came the third edition with Saramco New Zealand and Outward Bound, and then followed with the other races and with New Zealand Endeavour and Lion New Zealand and Steinlager and Fisher and Paykel. And it was during that period that it was so much of an input to the rise of New Zealand sailing that had a big impact also on the America's Cup. The New Zealand Challenge was a bit aimless really in Fremantle, but when the 7 or 8 guys of Lion or Steinlager arrived in Fremantle, all of a sudden it became focused, and we know what happened. So there was such a legacy from all of that. But in the end, whatever trophies it is, whether it's One-Ton Cup or Admiral's Cup, and you can go to the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron and see all the trophies there from the Whitbread and of course the America's Cup. It all comes down to people. And here we are, I'm at 50 years, and Barry, who have covered every race, but many are about 40 years on, and here you are seeing each other and no other event or sport would do it, that you would want to come like Earl from the Bay of Islands and others travelling long distances to be able to mix and meet, and delighted to see each other. And some may not quite with the spring in your step as you've had in the past, but you're all here and pleased to see each other, and it all comes back to the spirit of the Whitbread that these people here and Don has created so brilliantly. Long may it continue. Here's to you.
Cheers. Cheers.
Thanks. Thanks, Peter. Actually, I just heard, I'm going to spring it up. Oh, there he is. G'day, Paul. Paul Kayar's just turned up. Paul, do you want to say something? I mean, you're a winner of the Whitbread. Would you like to come and say g'day? Yeah, well, hey, go, Earl, do you want to come up and say a word?
Paul Kayar, God.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
You're the new skipper.
No, Jim, don't talk about it. Hey, good to see you, Paul. Yeah. You want to just, that's for the Facebook Live. You want to just tell us what happened in your Whitbread or your race?
Well, I've been listening, and a lot of what's been said is absolutely true. And I came from a different world.
Thank you.
I came, as PJ knows, I came from the America's Cup and Olympic world, battled with the Kiwis in San Diego before I even ever thought about going out in the ocean. And is that my phone? We're getting old, Earl. We can't hear anymore. Anyway, it was the best. I got involved with EF Language. Laurie Smith got out of the way and created a space for me and brought a different mentality to the race. I had a lot of my Olympic and America's Cup buddies on the boat. We almost killed somebody on leg 2. We were lacking in round the world experience, but we knew how to race a boat hard, and we got lucky and won on our first attempt. And the experiences I had are some of the most valuable in my whole life, and certainly in my sailing career. So I love the race, and I loved it enough to do it again. And Earl came with me, and Earl won this race long before I did. So I'm going to pass the word to him here in a second. But I'm going to tell a story that we just shared. I've been talking with Earl just the other day, and you all probably know what a badass Earl Williams is. Even Joey Allen would admit that Earl's a badass. So we were sailing on the leg from New York to Portsmouth, England in 2006 on the Pirates of the Caribbean, which was another fantastic project. It was a bad leg, and one boat sank, and one person, unfortunately, was lost overboard, not from our boat, but it was a very rough leg. And Earl and I are the kind of guys who like to lead from the ground up and lead by example. So one night, after about 5 days of skipping over waves at 40 knots on these boxes that sounded like steel drums being dragged down a cobblestone street, we were down below bilging out the boat together. And I've always considered Earl a badass. Like, I'm afraid of Earl. I'm intimidated by Earl, right? So we're down there bilging out the boat, and we're exhausted, and we're sitting on the generator box, and hey, Tom. And I look at Earl, and we're just sitting there like this, and I look at him, and I go, "This is fucking crazy, right?" And he goes, "This is fucking crazy." Then I knew I'd made it.
Yeah, well, crikey, we go back a long way. I got the opportunity to sail on Flyer as a 21-year-old, and I had done a lot of sailing with my dad and all his mates, and became a reasonable sailor at a young age. And I was just so lucky to get an opportunity to get on Flyer and go out and race around the world. And it was, it was an incredible experience, and all of you in this race here now will be going through the same thing that I went through as a young fella out there sailing through the Southern Ocean with good people who actually become your lifelong friends And that's a very special part about the race is I look around this room now and I have friends here from Ceramco and from Flyer that I raced around 43 years ago, and they're my best friends, and the best time I ever have is when I get together with them on occasions like this. I don't have to look around the world and see Simon Gundry over there and Joey Allen over there, and we've got John Vitale who sailed with us and some fantastic sailors. I could go on for a while. But there's something very special about round the world sailing that we're so lucky to experience. I did go on and do another 4 or 5 of the races on other boats with other people, and one of the greatest ones I did was with Paul with Pirates, which was a special campaign because we got a boat. Paul got the boat very, very late. He called me up. He called me up one day and he said I was doing other stuff, and he says, "Earl, what are you doing next week?" And I said, "Well, I don't know what's on." He says, "Well, can you do the round the world race?" And so I rocked up to Portugal a week before the start with Paul, and off we went. Right, and the first night we went. And the first night we went out, and I'd never been on a Kenton keel boat, and they were a little different to the average keel boat. And we headed off, and we went straight into a gale force winds, and we were reaching or running or going really fast. And this thing was touching 20, 30 knots, and Paul was up there driving it. He drove it all through the daytime. He never really gave me a turn, but then, and then it got dark, and he said, "Hey, Earl, it's yours." Yeah.
Well, that's not exactly right, because you were down below.
No, after that. So anyway, no, but afterwards. So anyway, he says, "Here, Earl, have a go." So I'm on this friggin' Kenton keel boat that's doing 20, 30 knots, and it's all over the place, and it took a little while to settle it down. And then we go through the night a bit, and then I have a rest, and Paul comes back up again, and he's sailing the boat, and he pushes the boat pretty hard. And the next thing, there's a big bang, a really big bang. And what had happened, the Kenton keel boats, they have these flaps underneath them, and we called them the bomber doors, right? And the bomber doors, they blew off. They weren't put on very well, and they just blew off, like these big things came off. And now the water's, we got this hole where the rams are, and with a perspex top on it, and there's water spurting out all these bolt holes, and we're doing 30 knots down this wave, and I'm going, well, I say, "Hey, Paul, I think you should slow down a bit here, man. This looks like it's going to explode, And anyway, he slowed down. It took a while to get him to slow down, but anyway, slowed down, and we were about to, and we turned around. We had to pull out. We were about to sink, and we turned around. We went back to Cascais, and we ended up flying the boat on an Antonov to Cape Town to join the next leg, right? So we had the 24-hour record, right?
Yeah. 6, yeah.
I mean, they never gave it to...
12,000 miles.
Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah.
That's the record.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a record. They never really is. But anyway, those are the experiences that you remember, and the times that with the great people that go through those things. The Whitbreads is such a cool thing to do. I really, all of you that are doing it now, I take my hat off to you, and just, you'll come out of the race and you'll be so much richer in your life for it, for the people you've met, the experiences you've had, and just great times. And I could go on forever about the great things I've done in the round the world race, but I won't. But look, that's PJ's job, right? So, and just isn't it great to have PJ here? I mean, he's PJ's been the voice of yachting all my life, and I have the utmost respect for you. And Barry was a shore manager of Fly, and we go back a long way. And we had a wonderful time with Fly. It was a special time, and I just thank you all, and I wish you all the best. And one hand for the boat, guys, and hang on.
Okay, so thank you, Peter. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Paul and Earl. It's really good. It's a common theme that all the vets that I've spoken to in the UK and here all say that the Whitbread changed their lives. So, let's see what happens with the OGR. But thanks for coming. I think that's pretty much it. But now there's a very special occasion. So for all the Whitbread vets, what we're going to do so we can filter it, so make sure that just the vets get the coin, which is the 50th anniversary coin, we're going to go down to the marina So if I can get the vets to go single file to the marina, and when you're down there, I'll give you the coin when you go through the gate, but head on down and go over towards Penduick and just group together, and then we'll have a photographer up the top, and we just want to get a shot of the veterans alongside Penduick if we could. Okay, so if the vets just head down to the gate there, and we'll see you down there and give you the coin on the way through. Thanks, that's it, JT. That's it.